Welcome back to a brand new video. Today I asked you guys to ask me questions over on Instagram, and you guys killed it. You guys came up with a bunch of cool, unique, fun questions, so I decided it was time to film another Q&A. I recorded one back, I don't know, it's been a while. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at GavinHadley_. Next time I do one of these, feel free to throw some questions my way and maybe I'll answer them. First question is biggest inspirations, not only music-wise, but life in general. People like Juice WRLD that got me into making music. Nick Mira, of course, that sort of introduced me to how it was possible to create beats just from a computer, and it was just super inspiring to see that back in like my freshman year of high school. As I'm growing as a producer, I feel like I really look up to producers like Phineas, and then artists like Billie Eilish. I just really am a giant fan of their work. My girlfriend, Curtis Granderson, who is a former MLB baseball player, just super great guy. And I've been following him ever since I got into baseball when I was younger. Favorite bands / artists to listen to. So this might surprise some of you guys, but I don't listen to too much rap music. I have my phases here and there. I've been listening to Juice WRLD a lot recently, but I would say Billie Eilish, Phineas, Olivia Rodrigo, Conan Gray, Clinton Kane, The Backseat Lovers. That's the short list of artists that I listen to. Tom the Mailman I've been listening to a little bit recently as well. How are you at managing school and music? Oh boy. So I am out of high school now. I'm 19 and I'm not going to college, so there's no schooling being done currently. And as to how I managed it, it took a little while to figure it all out. Sophomore year and junior year of high school, it was mainly a sophomore year thing. Sophomore year was a really hard school year for me because I was working a lot, and then I wanted to make a lot of music, and then I obviously have a lot of homework to do because I was like a year ahead in every single class. So it was really hard for me to stay motivated to do school when I knew that music was something that I was seriously interested in. And then I was playing baseball at the time too. For me, the expectation was kind of that I would get a scholarship and go to play baseball in college, but that was not really something that I had an interest in anymore after I discovered music. There was kind of a little bit of turmoil there. But senior year, I really found out a way to balance it, and a little bit junior year too, because once we switched to online classes, like my entire senior year, aside from like the first month, was entirely online. And that allowed me to be able to figure out ways to sort of, for lack of a better term, finesse my classes and get all of the homework done and get all good grades on the tests and stuff, and also have more time to work on music since I'm at home. So yeah, that's how I did that. Do you ever get worn down by the responsibility of being a loop maker? Oh yes, all the time. I love making loops, but it is a lot of jobs, you work a set amount of hours and then you have, say, weekends off or like set times off. The thing about being a loop maker or trying to make something as a musician is that if you're really serious about it, your time off is almost non-existent. Sure, you can take breaks, but the amount of space that something like this takes up in your mind is pretty crazy. Like when you're running your own business, you're always on the clock. After you are finished working like a 9-hour shift, you can kind of let it all, just forget about it. It doesn't really matter. But like, you always got to be on the clock with this and responding to messages and thinking about what your next move is, etc., etc. So it definitely is tiring. I wasn't planning on taking a little bit of a break for Christmas, but I'm flying back home in 2 days now. Holy crap. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of break from YouTube and then a little bit of a music break as well for a little bit. Still making stuff here and there throughout the trip, but I'm just gonna try to use that as a reset, start fresh for 2022. It's definitely not easy, so breaks, they're key. It's really easy when you're managing yourself to let yourself slip off and not really do a lot for a long period of time. You really got to be honest with yourself and true to your goals at all times. Where do I want to be in 5 years with music? So this is a little bit more long-term, I would say, in the whole scheme of how musicians' careers sort of go. 5 years from now, I would definitely like to be in a spot where I can be traveling the world. I would like to start within like the next 5 years getting more into the management side of things, and I would like to eventually, hopefully one day, be able to start my own record label. And I also want to start managing artists and producers and stuff along those lines within the next 5 years. How to balance a relationship and producing. Ooh, this is a good one. It's key that your partner, if this is truly something that you're passionate about, I know it's as a loop maker or as producer or anything, it's always super hard to really explain what you do and sort of convey how important it is to you, if it is something that is in fact really important to you. For me, Leah and I are very on the same page in that category. She knows that it's a very important thing to me. And I feel like setting weekly goals can really help you keep on track. So like, she knows, it's kind of funny, all of my weekly packs have 12 loops in them, and I try to make a little bit more than that each week. And then once I make 12, I stop putting loops in that week's pack, and then I focus on the next week's pack. Basically, I'm just stocking up a bunch of loops, which are going to come in handy a lot in the future. But she knows that I have to make at least 12 loops per week, and we sort of make sure that happens every week. And then I also have to post on YouTube every other day. Don't have to, but I like to, and I want to. She's very in tune with my goals and what I need to accomplish, and I feel like that's really important. Having your person on the same page with you. How often do you use Logic? I've seen it in some of your videos. Miles actually uses Logic. I've never used it. I have a Windows computer, but I want to in the future. I want to get nice on all of the DAWs. How long have you been making beats/loops? I started my freshman year of high school, so it's been about 4 years. I started around this time about 4 years ago. My dream placement, this is a really out there one, but I would like to work with Billie Eilish, Phineas, Olivia Rodrigo, Dan Nigro, all of them, Conan Gray, that whole squad, and obviously a bunch of other people as well. Post Malone, that one is definitely high on the list. How many hours do you practice guitar for? I don't actually really ever sit down and just practice the instrument, which is kind of maybe something I should be doing. I definitely save myself in the whole quantizing process. Fun fact, the only time I really play guitar is when I make loops, but each time I make a loop is kind of like practicing, because I go in blank slate and I just try to come up with something. When you're doing that over and over and over again every single day, you're going to inherently get better at the instrument. What do you do when you feel uninspired or unmotivated to make music? So this actually happens a lot. I'm a very streaky individual. I have my ups and downs for sure, and sometimes it's extremely difficult to balance those ups and downs. I feel like I'm slowly getting better at it. I feel like holding myself to, you gotta have a healthy relationship with the music that you're doing, because it's super easy to start getting down on yourself and mad at yourself when you don't make a certain amount of things in a week, or you're just having an off day and not coming up with anything good, and it's super easy to sort of push yourself into a hole with that. I like to think long term and how many times I've felt these ways and how many times I've bounced back and rebounded from them. And I've rebounded every single time so far, I think. I don't think I've fallen off yet. At the end of the day, you can sit down and just try different things and it'll come to you. You'll make something that's different and it'll start a whole new era of good loops or good beats. You'll ride that wave until the wave crashes, and then you will sort of repeat the process. Go outside, go for a run. For me, I've been watching a lot of podcasts recently, not even music podcasts, just people talking, and then I just pick up on random little things that they talk about. I watched a bunch of interviews and stuff with Phineas, super cool guy. I highly recommend that you look up Phineas interviews on YouTube. They're super interesting. They sort of taught me different ways to sort of think outside the box, different ways of going about things, thinking about life in general, and being a musician, things along those lines. What's my favorite part when making music? My favorite part is just the feeling of creating a unique chord progression, or just anything really unique, like a top melody or a bass line or chords, anything like that. Stumbling upon different effects that sort of work together in a cool way, different textures on guitars and instruments that I affect. Really, that is one of the best things. And then also obviously if a loop goes all the way, an artist gets on it and it makes a cool song out of it, the whole process coming full circle. I love it all so much. Where do you see yourself in 2 years? So that is a little bit shorter of a timeline than the 5-year question. In 2 years, I would like to be again in a spot where I can travel around a lot and be able to go to different studios and places all over the US. That is a goal for me for sure. I really want to get into the studios a lot more in 2022. Onward, that is one of my goals. I have never actually been to a studio, but I'm getting close to a spot where I can start going to them. So I'm really looking forward to that. How do you balance music and real life? So for me, my life right now is pretty interesting. I'm Airbnb hopping and I don't have another job. Music is my only job at the moment. This is very much just almost everything I do all day because I want to make this work and I need to, because financially I need money. I would definitely be working a warehouse job or something. Actually not a warehouse job. Tried that for 2 days and not my thing. I would definitely be working somewhere else if this really truly wasn't what I wanted to do. So I'm super passionate about it. But yeah, this is very much so just my life right now and I love it. With that being said, it is important to take breaks. Last night, I just decided I'm not going to do anything tonight and trusted myself. And here I am, bouncing back the next day, getting right after it with the YouTube video. And then I plan on doing a bunch of other stuff later as well. How to grow on Instagram, sending loops, beats, placements. This is something that I've just found that I like to do super organically. I don't really go messaging people too much. I'm always a relationships first type person. I really like to get to know the person and that sort of thing. And really your best friend is going to be consistency, getting after it every single day. It doesn't have to be doing the same thing every day. It doesn't have to be uploading a YouTube video every day. You're just going to want to be consistent. You're going to want to upload as much as you can comfortably. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, and you always want to be thinking around the clock about what you're doing and different ways that you can improve. And that is ultimately how you will progress as a musician. Are you self-taught on the guitar? I am self-taught. Miles taught me a little bit of the ropes to begin, but then from there, honestly, I experiment, and I don't really know too much of the technicalities of the instrument. I'm learning a little more as I progress, but compared to a lot of people, I wouldn't say I know too much. Do you ever see yourself in this position when you were younger? Not in a million years. No. I never would have thought that I would have been producing music. Once I got to middle school, I became really shy in school and classes and stuff. I'd be really apprehensive to share what the type of music that I listen to. Talking about music and stuff was always like, I loved music, but it was just kind of like an awkward topic for me for some reason. Like I was very self-conscious about what I listened to, which I don't feel like anyone ever should be. Like for me, I listened to a lot of Meghan Trainor, and that was what I didn't want to share with people for some reason, because I felt embarrassed to listen to Meghan Trainor. Meghan Trainor is a good artist. Listen to Meghan Trainor. Yeah, I would have never imagined that. And also now living in Utah, a year ago, I would have never imagined, like, why would I be in Utah? But I'm in Utah, and it's awesome. Do you have any unique tips for learning guitar? I do have one. Well, I have a few. Obviously, you're going to want to practice the instrument as much as you can comfortably. You don't want to burn yourself out. But a tip that I would give is really using your ear and just putting your fingers in different places and trying to make it work. Just really getting used to not using the technical sides of things and really just trying to use your ear. I feel like that's how you will get really far with the instrument. And also a really, really good way to help that is by using different tunings on the guitar, and that really forces you to just use your ear, because then all of the normal guitar tips that you're used to using just go right out the window because the strings aren't tuned the same, and it makes it impossible to play those same chord shapes and whatnot. So that is a tip that I use a lot. It just really helps me think outside the box. Whenever I'm like in a rut on the guitar, I'll sometimes put it in a different tuning, and it does its thing, keeps me moving along. That is all of the questions that I have today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little bit more about me today. Again, feel free to follow me on Instagram, and next time I do one of these, you can go comment some of your other questions, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you guys for watching, as always. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.